All right, hey guys, it's Tokenicer back here for another collab video with you guys today. And today we've got Brian Jun on the channel, and he's the founder of TerraMoon Ventures. So yeah, let's hop right in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So do you want to just kind of get started and tell us what you kind of do?
Yeah, so I guess this whole journey started for me uh, back in 2017. Um, Back then, I used to have a dental supply company, and I used to have a digital dental lab where we would. So at the dental laboratory, I used to manufacture implant parts like custom abutments. Since it is a digital lab, I had a 3D printer and milling machine, and I used to customize crowns via CAD CAM. So we would design it on the computers, and then I would send a STL file over to the milling machines and 3D printers, and we would do everything digitally. Um, and then in 2017, a buddy of mine who is now one of the trading mentors in the TerraMoon Discord group, he gave me a call one day and he was telling me how well his Bitcoin and Litecoin were doing. And I had like zero exposure to crypto at the time. But I knew him very well. He goes by Supreme Gold. And so I trust his opinion. He's a very smart guy. So I started looking into a little bit. You know, he started off his portfolio, I think it was like around 50K. He's well into like the high seven figures right now. So I started asking him questions like, what the hell is Bitcoin? What the hell is Litecoin? And back then, you know, the only thing that, you know, people were kind of echoing was, you know, Bitcoin is the new gold, Litecoin is the new silver. And I had no idea what the hell that meant. So he sent me a link with to Investopedia, and he's like, well, you can start here, right? Start understanding the verbiage, you know, get familiar with technical analysis and all of this. And it was just so overwhelming for me. And I have that kind of personality where if it's not something that I really understand, it's really tough for me to invest into it, right? Because that's my hard-earned money. And to me, putting money into something that I have no idea how it works, especially something as volatile as crypto, just felt like gambling. So I started doing some research, and something that was really interesting for me that I'm not sure a lot of people know is technical analysis actually originated in Japan. And it was this guy who noticed that he can start charting people's behaviors. And the Japanese army used technical analysis as an art of war, and they used that to strategize when to attack their enemies. Fast forward, someone took this and found out that he could apply it to stocks. And that's how technical analysis kind of came about. So that was really fascinating for me. And the deeper I dove, the more interested I got. So I was at work, and I caught myself like during lunch looking at, you know, studying crypto and trying to figure out how this whole thing works. You know, before I went into work, I was looking at the charts. After work, I was just diving into the whole crypto world, right? And then fast forward a little bit, the pandemic hit, and that was pretty brutal for me, at least for the industry that I was in at the time, because the CDC came down and they basically said, you know, you can't see any patients. And if my clients, which are dentists, if they close their doors, then I have no work, right? So that was kind of a light bulb moment for me, where I I was pretty worried because I noticed then that I wasn't in control of my business, right? So at that moment, I think that was when I realized, hey, if there was ever a time for me to hit that reset button, now would be the time to do a career change, right? So long story short, I ended up closing down the labs and the dental supply company. I sold the dental supply company, closed the lab, sold all the equipment, and then I started really focusing on trading. The first few years was obviously very difficult. 2017, 2018. They didn't have a lot of information on how to learn how to trade and things like that. And I quickly learned that the stuff that you found online, a lot of it was bullshit. Most of the stuff that I read had a conflict of interest. And it was so early in my trading career that no one told me that, so I learned the hard way. And then after about 2 years into it, I realized the only way to learn is just figure out your own strategy. So every trade that I went to, I had a little trading journal on my desk. I would just write everything, and I got very obsessed. And over time, I figured out stuff that works, what doesn't work, what time frame. And one of the biggest things that we were just talking about is psychology. That's something that I obviously don't chart in my YouTube videos, but that's something that plays a big factor in a lot of my readings. For example, this is kind of going off in a tangent, but
it's all good.
Yeah, you can have one chart, right? Like, let's say we're looking at a Bitcoin chart. It doesn't matter what indicators you have on there and what lines you draw on the chart if you don't understand the psychology behind it. That's why you have so many people giving you so many different readings, and we're all looking at the same thing, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I think if you just scroll on crypto Twitter, you can find 10 different like Bitcoin falling wedges or whatever other charts they draw up.
Yeah. Half of them are saying it's going up, half of them saying it's nuking going to zero or whatnot.
Yeah, but that's where you've got to like look into sentiment and just like the macro fundamentals of what's actually happening, right?
Exactly. And we have a saying, 90% of retail traders lose 90% of their portfolio within the first 90 days. And this is something that takes time to learn. You're not going to just jump in and be like this, unicorn of a trader and just make this crazy amount of money. You see these narratives all the time on YouTube. Join my course and you're going to make $10,000 a month. Or I woke up this morning, it's 8 a.m. and I just made $2,000 today and it's 10 o'clock. I have the rest of the day. That's all bullshit. It doesn't work that way. And it took me a long time to figure it out. But, as crazy as it sounds, I kept sticking with it. I lost a lot of money in the very beginning, testing out different things, but I finally figured out what works for me. And a lot of it is some of the more advanced things that I've been learning from people were risk management and how to properly manage your portfolio, learning how to hedge. A lot of those things and fundamentals. A lot of these things were the recipe that I needed on top of the TA to start realizing some profits. But that was a very hard lesson learned.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, realizing profits in this space is like, I think that's one of the biggest points you gotta get across to like new guys, right?
Yeah. Okay, so after I closed the dental lab and I started really focusing on this full-time. And mind you, at this time, TerraMoon didn't exist. I had been just a retail trader, retail investor.
When did you start TerraMoon again? If you don't mind me asking.
Just recently. So I'm leading up to that. So as soon as I closed that down, I was at home just doing my thing like I have been for years. And then coincidentally, Elon started pumping Dogecoin as this happened. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. I had, in the few years that I've been in the space, never seen something like this before. And I remember I was out running some errands, and my now partner, Nick, he called me. He had zero exposure to crypto at the time. And he was like, hey, I know you've been doing crypto for a while. Is it a good time to buy Doge? So I pulled up the chart. It had just ripped like 2,000%. Like just went parabolic. That. And I was like, look, man, I don't give financial advice, but I would not buy something that just went parabolic. It just made a 2,000% move. There's a very high chance that it's going to come back down, right?
Yeah, and it did just that.
Exactly. The very next day, at 50% dump, right? And he's like, holy shit, thank you so much. I would have just lost half of my portfolio, And I was like, yeah, man. And he never stopped calling me. Like, he just kept calling, kept asking. And it reminded me a lot of how I was when I first started, right? And so, I'm texting him back and forth every day, telling him kind of like pointing him in the direction of where he could start, to start learning and things like that, without consuming the false narrative that you can make, fast money really quickly. And a lot of that's bullshit, right? So I had him kind of just start learning what a candlestick meant, all the verbiage, things like that. So he started from the very bottom. And next thing I know, his portfolio was like, he was crushing it, man. He like more than like 2x'd his account within like 2 months. And then he told his friends, and then his friends got in contact with me. And it's so TerraMoon started because of this. It was through word of mouth. I helped out my partner Nick, and he told his friends started hitting me up. And it got to a point where I was texting like 5, 6, 7 people, all different messages, all the same thing. And it was starting to get annoying for me. And so I thought, you know what, like I need one place where I can just post my ideas and they can just read it without having to text all these people at the same time, right? So that's something that I don't think a lot of people know about TerraMoon is, we never got into this with the idea of, hey, we want to start a subscription-based service and sell trade signals. That was never the intention from the beginning. It was just to kind of give back and help the people that I knew in my personal life. And one thing led to another, and all of it was just organic growth. Not up until most recently, when the YouTube channel started, there was zero marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't hear about TerraMoon until I started following your channel, and I was like, damn, this guy's really building something up.
Yeah, it's like I just been this silent like trader investor at home. I've had my Twitter open since early 2018. I was never really into Twitter. I was like on Instagram and stuff. And people were kept saying like, oh, you need to get on Twitter. There's a lot of crypto stuff on there. So I waited, and then finally gave in. I opened a Twitter account. I had 0 tweets up until like this year.
No, same. Like I just started doing all this. Like I was like sick of going to my lectures. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to sit in class and write these articles.
Yeah. Dude, I actually love your tweets too, like all your fundamental stuff. It's really awesome.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So that was like the birth of TerraMoon. It was literally just me helping out people that I knew in my personal life. And I just wanted one place where I can just put all of my ideas out and not have to like text all these different people. Because that took time away from where I actually make my money now, because I closed down the lab. I did have a baby clothes and toys manufacturing company that I had invested in. And I did leave that company as well, because I knew if I really wanted to do this and do it well, that I had to be focused, right? So started doing that, and it started to slowly grow. We're still a very small group, mind you. Like, we don't have a lot of members. I really don't make anything from TerraMoon. This is still my main source of how I make my money. So yeah, man, that's how TerraMoon started. And that's how my crypto journey
Thanks for sharing
started.
that story. I thought it was great. Like how, like you see how most these trading pump groups are just like, join my group, make X amount of money in how many days, right?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
seems like you guys really are like trying to build a community within that and not just like pump like the recognition of like your group, right?
That's the thing, man. So like Discord groups and things like that, they don't really have the best reputation, and it's because a lot of the other Discord channels that are out there, they got into it with the idea of just making money through the subscription services. Most of them probably don't even trade.
Yeah,
Most
that's
of
a
them
fair point.
probably just got into crypto recently, but they came into it with the business idea of, hey, I'm going to make money off the subscriptions. I'm going to make money off of fucking getting backdoor deals with these other altcoin companies and dumping it, using my subscribers as exit liquidity. So there's a very bad reputation there. And I didn't realize this until after, because I never went into it with the idea of doing this, right? Like, it was just a place for me to help my friends. And then I realized, holy shit, there's a very bad reputation for Discord groups. But you know what? Like, that's not what we're about. I literally make no money. Like, our group is very small, but there are some very big players in there. And I'm still like very passionate about our community, because these are real people, and they've been performing very well. But yeah, a lot of the channels or Discord groups and Telegram groups that you see, they came in solely just to make money off of their subscribers, right?
Oh, for sure. Like, I can't count the amount of times I get added into just like a random Telegram pump group.
But dude, the last year, 2021, was like the year of the degenerates. Like, I would randomly get added into like a bunch of pump and dump groups. I don't even know how they found me.
Yeah, no, it was like
crazy.
embarrassing to be spotted in them. I was like, oh, I better leave this before someone I know catches me on here.
Yeah, man. But yeah, if there is anything that I want people to take away, is like, how the group started and what it actually stands for. It's a strong community, where we all have the same goal in mind, right? We're all trying to make it. We're all trying to do well. Myself and my partner Nick and our trading mentor Supreme Gold, we have a proven track record in crypto. Obviously, I mean, I do this full time. I make no money from the TerraMoon group, and we're literally just passing down our knowledge to our members. And we, for the people who joined in early, they were able to get into DAG since January, so they're doing very well.
Yeah, I bet. I'm guessing you meant like January 2020 or 2021.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so
it's
happy.
grown like, I think over 10x since then. Hey.
Oh, dude. Yeah. We're like 2,000 to 3,000%. you know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man. What about you? How did you get into crypto? What was your first like encounter with it, and what made you so fascinated with the space?
So my first encounter was pretty funny actually. It was back when I was still in high school. I think was a freshman, and our teacher actually had some guy. This was in, I want to say 2013, 14. Our teacher brought someone in who talked to us about Bitcoin.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, like back, I don't remember how much Bitcoin was back then. I want to say it was probably under $2,000 though. So
Okay.
I like, it was just explained as like peer-to-peer cash, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I went home and told my parents about it, and they're like, no, what the hell is this? So then after that, I kind of just like dropped it for a couple years, and then I started seeing news headlines about it. So I kind of dove back in 2017, 2018, but I wasn't like all that serious at the time. It was more just like, put it simply, I was a moon boy at the time. But so yeah, after that, I saw the prices crash in January 2018. I was just like, all right, I'm glad I didn't jump into that yet. And then come like the COVID crisis, I was sort of deep in equities by then, but I was really frustrated at just like how slow the processing times were. Like, are you in equities by any chance?
No, I'm strictly all crypto.
I'm like that pretty much too now. But
Yeah.
so in equities, a security or just like a stock takes 2 days to settle after you sell it. So if you sell like Tesla stock, for example, on Monday, you don't get your funds till Wednesday. So that just like causes a huge delay in like your decision patterns, right?
Right.
So eventually I was just like, all right, I need to find something faster than this. And then I discovered Ethereum, and I was just kind of like reading up on it, and I was like, wow, Bitcoin isn't the only cryptocurrency. And because Ethereum's just like, it's pretty different from Bitcoin in the sense that like you can build on top of it and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that got me really fascinated. And then I started digging a little deeper, and then found these like other more scalable and real world application projects like Quant and Constellation.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much how I got started and where I am today.
Yeah, it's good thing you found it so early, right?
Yeah.
I still think I just realized while we were talking, I don't even have my screen shared with you because I wanted to have some charts up.
Oh, here, I can add you as a host so you can screen share. Make host.
Yeah, I liked how like the last one you did, how it was like the two boxes of the people talking, and then you guys had like a chart there too.
Yeah, that was nice. Gives people something to look at, right?
Yeah. And then like halfway through, like while you were talking, I was like, oh shit, we don't even have a chart up.
I mean, we weren't really talking about charts yet. You should be good to share now though. Oh, there we go.
Got it?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, so
just looking at the weekly charts on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I guess we can kind of go over what I've been taking a look at. If I'm sure you've seen, we've been tracking this wick-off distribution channel for, I think since like late November, early December. This is something that I spotted, and some people want to call this a double top, depending on what time frame you're looking at. If you look at it from a monthly, it looks more like a double top. But looking at it from a weekly time frame, it started to have this sort of wick off distribution channel, and within it, there's a head and shoulder pattern. And this is something that I was making videos about, trying to get people to kind of pay attention, at least the guys who are calling for 100K end of year. I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? I mean, obviously I want the price to go up too, but the market doesn't give a shit about my feelings.
Yeah, you got to be realistic, right?
Exactly. So I look at everything objectively, regardless of what I want. and I tried to make decisions based on what we see. So we had this we had this head and shoulder pattern. We finally got the rejection. And if we zoom into the daily time frame, I've been telling people we have this potential death cross in play, which is a bearish signal, and you never really want to make decisions based off just one indicator. When you're doing technical analysis, you have to kind of put everything together and build this sort of case to see how long or how strong the probability of a move happening is, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when I looked at all sorts of things, for example, market sentiment, everybody's calling for 100K. Well, usually the market will do the opposite of what everybody wants. So that was one thing that I was looking at. 2, the Wyckoff distribution channel. 3, the head and shoulder pattern. 4, institutions, they made some good money in 2021. And at the end of the year, institutions have to show their earnings reports. And a lot of them take off for a holiday through Christmas and New Year's. So it just made sense that they were going to be taking profits and starting 2022 with a fresh P&L. So all of that put together, I decided to go short on Bitcoin. And I do have 2 separate portfolios. I have an investment portfolio, or a HODL account, whatever you want to call it, where, that's my long-term, I don't really mess with that very much. I might move things around a little bit, but that's my long-term portfolio. And I do have a trading portfolio, but when I use the word trading, I think people get the mistaken that as in I'm a short-term trader. My style of trading is more swing trading. So I'll stay in a position I look at it from like a 1 to 6 month time horizon. And I do a long short portfolio. So in the trading account, I decided that I was going to go short on Bitcoin, and that is used to kind of hedge against my investment portfolio, because obviously those are red right now. But this Bitcoin short is kind of offsetting that. And this goes back to us talking about portfolio management, right? The goal is when markets are red, you want to try to walk out of there with the least amount of damage as possible. And when your winners are running, you want to try to maximize that as much as possible, right?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, because it's such a common thing to see people like hold on to their losers and then cut their winners off, right?
Yeah, they usually do the opposite, if you are, and this isn't financial advice, but if shorting or hedging, that style of, that strategy is too scary because you've never done a short before, it's something you're not interested in. There are other strategies, which is, just a dollar cost average down and just hold for, have a longer time horizon. That works. It's just, I've been doing this for a while, so I know how to manage my risk when I go short, and it's not easy to do, but if you can try to learn it, it's a much better strategy in my opinion, because during drawdowns my portfolio has barely gone down because of the short position, while other people might be down 60-70%, right?
Yeah, it's just like risk management overall, right?
Yeah, risk management, portfolio management. I feel like nobody talks about that on Twitter.
Definitely not, no.
Yeah, so that's something that people should try to study, is portfolio management and risk management. Going back to the market. So I did go short. I started taking profits on the way down. levels of support that I'm looking at is around the $35,000 range. And the reason why I'm looking at that as a level of support is, one, it lines up here with the supply and demand level, but a chart here that not a lot of people really look at is the CME gap chart.
Yeah, I feel like this is a chart that is definitely slept on a lot. Hey.
Yeah. I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that people are new and they don't understand what this chart is.
Well, yeah, I don't think too many people are touching futures at the moment too, right?
Yeah, and what they don't understand, this is something that I've been tracking for many years, and these gaps usually always get filled. If you backtrack all the way back to like 2017, almost every gap has been filled. I think every gap has been filled. And these are the ones that are currently still open. And $35,000 range is one that is open. And with how everything looks, I feel like this one might get filled pretty soon. So yeah, that's my targets for Bitcoin. And this doesn't mean I'm bearish on Bitcoin. This is just talking about the short-term price action. So I don't want people to mistaken my views on crypto. I'm long-term bullish on crypto. This is just talking about, the short-term price action.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like that's a lot of people in crypto's outlooks at the moment too, right? Like short-term, they're just like at the moment, short-term, you just like don't really know what's happening. There's so much market uncertainty with like the Fed coming more hawkish and everything happening in Kazakhstan at the moment. It's like,
right.
You can't just like be bullish because you're in crypto. You have to like be realistic. Like stuff's happening in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. And technical analysis is great for, the reason why it's great to understand it is, one, you're not confused, wondering why is it dumping right now, or why is it getting bought up at these levels? Like, it's good to know these things, especially if you're someone who deposits a certain portion of your monthly salary into crypto every month, right? Like you don't want to just buy blindly. You want to kind of look and be like, all right, I think this is a good range to set a limit order, and hopefully it gets filled,
like set proper entry points and stuff, right?
Exactly.
That's something that I wish I learned sooner.
Let us know. We definitely can help you out, man.
I'll be sure to join TerraMoon sometime soon.
Yeah, man. We'd love to have you in there, bro. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what I have, So long term, I'm still very bullish. My biggest bag is DAG, and the people on your channel, I'm sure, have, you do a great job explaining the fundamentals and what it does and all of that stuff.
Appreciate it.
I'm pretty sure I don't need to get into all that, but yeah, man, very bullish on it. And yeah, it was really interesting to hear how you got into crypto and all of that. Everyone has their own little story.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone's got their little story about how they just like kind of jump down the rabbit hole, right? Because it's a deep dive coming from just like not knowing about this space to just like delving so deep into everything.
Dude, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, man. Like, early last year it was like DeFi, and then it went to NFTs, and then now metaverse and gaming and utilities, and it just keeps it's a lot to keep up with, so it's definitely a full-time thing.
For sure. And I think it's just like the development in technology, right? Like it all started with Bitcoin being just like peer-to-peer cash, and then as people like kind of caught on, they were like, whoa, this technology could be like a lot more than just this.
Yeah, people are realizing, I still think there's a large amount of the population who still can't connect the dots on how this is going to connect with their everyday lives, except for the people that are already in the space and deep into this tech stuff.
Yeah. I think I honestly think if we were talking to like some normal people who weren't in the space, they'd kind of look at us like we were crazy.
Oh yeah, and that's that's a common thing that I see within my Discord channel as well. Most of them join, and they just think about Shiba Inu or Dogecoin, and then when they kind of start to read through our threads, they're just kind of like mind blown. Like, hold on, I need to take all of this in. Like, what the hell is that? What is this? So it like one thing about the Discord channel that I forgot to mention, other trading groups and trading mentors, they have this thing where they try to force one methodology onto all of their users, right? And it's usually in the way of short-term trading, right? They all think that they can make $2,000 a day trading, and compound that and make $10,000, $50,000 a month by trading short-term. That doesn't work with everybody,
No, definitely not. But that's what everyone wants to hear, I guess, right?
Yeah, but and I'm not going to sit here and tell people what they want to hear. I'm just going to tell them how it actually is, right? And
yeah, tell them the truth. Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of business owners within the Discord channel who don't have the time to sit there and jump in and out of trades like 15 times a day.
Yeah.
So with them, so what I did was I set up the channels where we have an investment channel, we have a swing trading channel, we have a scalping channel, we even have NFT channels just dedicated for NFTs. And so I always tell them, hey, you have to match your time horizon with your personality. If you're an investor and you're just looking at this from a long-term perspective, then you can just look in the investments section of the Discord. And that's worked out very well with our small group, because now they're not like, they don't have that anxiety of like, oh, I need to buy and sell, like get in and out of trades,
Yeah, they're more just like patient about everything, right? Especially if they see the longer vision too.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I do post like trade alerts for like the swing trades and the day trades and scalping and stuff, and some of them, they have a little bit of extra funds lying around. They're like, you know what, let me try this one, and they'll kind of just mess around, so it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I bet. Were there any other charts you wanted to pull up real quick, or just mainly those two?
It's mainly these, unless you have something that you wanted me to take a look at.
I think you've mainly covered Bitcoin and Constellation. Those are your two main projects you cover, right?
Yeah, at least for YouTube. I mean, I hold other projects too, like EOS is something that I have an investment in. I think I think metaverse gaming is going to be do very well in the future.
Oh yeah, I think the whole play to earn industry is, because it just brings the whole community aspect of crypto into like gaming, right?
Yeah. And so go ahead.
Oh, I don't know about you, but ever since like joining crypto Twitter and like connecting with people of like similar interests in like all these projects, I personally feel like I'm really in a community and like contributing. And that's not something you see in like any other forms of investment.
No, man. And it's crazy how that evolved into what it is today, There was a little bit of that, a few years ago, but it wasn't as strong as it is now. There's a lot of great ecosystems out there,
For sure, yeah.
And they're all kind of doing their own thing, but all sort of going after the same thing, which is to, have different businesses come and build on top of their network. They're just doing things in a slightly different way, or using a little bit of different tech. But they all have like their own little communities, and it's pretty insane to see that the way it is right now.
Yeah, and I love that you said how they're all like different in their own little ways. Like, I'm a big believer of there's not just going to be one blockchain to just rule them on all in the future. It's like there's not one phone service provider everyone uses, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered everything. Is there anything else you want to go over?
That was pretty much it. Maybe we could just like end it off with a little where we think the market's gonna be in 2022.
In 2022, so like okay.
Just like how this year is gonna progress, I guess. Both just like technicals and fundamentals, if you're cool with that.
Yeah. So let me try to pull this chart up.
But yo, I got a lot of respect for you just like actually taking the leap, just like diving full time into crypto. Like that takes balls, man.
Oh, dude, like it's it was tough, like because it was like not only like just committing to jumping into crypto, I had to close down like my baby, you know, like I had put so much effort into that digital laboratory that I had.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, like I was going to every trade show. I was traveling like a few times a month. I was going out. This was when I lived in Los Angeles. Like I was driving from like I was door knocking, like picking up customers, literally just knocking on their doors, introducing myself, trying to close the account. Like it was crazy, man.
Yeah, and
so to have to close that.
Especially during COVID, right? Like that must have just been like stressful as hell. Just like businesses around the world closing down and just like you don't know what's going to happen in the next coming weeks.
Yeah. And we didn't know how long that was going to be, that was going to go on for, you know? And
yeah.
It was crazy, but yeah, everything fell into place. Like I personally thought after closing the lab and doing crypto full time, I thought I was just going to be a retail investor, retail trader full time. I didn't even have any thoughts of TerraMoon, Discord. That didn't even exist in my mind. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, like what got me started just like making content and stuff was just like I saw all this like technical analysis people were putting. But yeah, like as you said earlier, like you have trouble putting money into something you don't understand, even if the technicals look great, right?
Right.
So like I saw those charts and I'm just like, well, what the hell does this project do? Like, why is it going up? So I was like, okay, so we have the why you think it's going up showing the technical analysis, but I think someone needs to be covering the fundamentals of what's really driving the price and the community to continue growing.
Right. Something that I do too is like, every trader or investor should have a updated watch list on your trading view or wherever you keep it. And this watch list, this is a homework that you need to be doing every night, but a lot of people don't. They're just lazy or they say they don't have time, whatever the excuse is, but you should always have an updated watch list. And so every night I go and I scan the whole markets without even looking at what the project is. I start scanning and I start looking at certain setups that I find very interesting. There are certain setups that I've come to realize do extremely well and they pop. So I start scanning and then I'll find the setup. And then from there, it's not just like you go in and you open a position just because the chart looks like that. The chart has this setup. So the chart is kind of talking and it looks like there could be a good entry. So then I start going into what the project is and trying to see what the story is behind there, right? And if all of that stuff lines up, then I, start gaining some exposure to whatever that project is.
Yeah, you kind of take a look at what the project really is and how the things are looking in both the short and long term before you actually put your hard-earned money in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can have a really, really good project that just has a very, very bad chart. Like the time that you discovered it was like, it could just be a very bad time where it's about to dump 70%. right? But it could still be this really amazing project. So that's something that I would put on my watch list and wait until the right setup comes. And then I'd put my money in, because one, the chart looks good. It's a good setup. It's, you know, kind of getting into this like oversold territory, or it has the right pattern. And also the fundamentals behind it is solid too.
Yeah, I mean, like, patience is just a big part of it, right? Like, FOMO can, like, no matter how good of a trader or investor you are, FOMO can still get to anyone.
Yeah, and that's something that I feel like is it's never going to go away with new retail traders. And
no, I mean,
because
like,
of
I think
the
it's
narrative.
basic human psychology almost, right?
Yeah, everybody, it's basic human psychology. They want shortcuts, right? And on top of that, you have people on YouTube and Twitter who push that narrative that can happen. And then you have projects with like 60,000% APY that come out of the gates and try to tell people that this can happen, which all end up being Ponzi's and
just rug pulls. Yeah.
And this just goes to show that 90% of retail traders, that statistics, it's still, you know, it's still valid. So yeah. So that's why, you know, our Discord, if people are able to find it, we try to steer people away from things like that and try to bring them back down to reality and show them that this is a long game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I guess a lot of people saw what happened with Bitcoin earlier on, when it was still like under a $500 billion asset, and like, obviously it's easier to move the prices then, right? Because it's like so low market cap. So people just saw what happened then, and they just expect that to be like the normal price ranges it flows between. But in reality, like, as this market grows, it's like, it's not gonna, like, 10 years from now, we're not gonna be seeing like 30% drops in a day.
No, the market. So, I mean, going to, you know, talking about that, the market is getting more liquid and it's getting more mature, which means it's going to get less volatile. And it also means that we're probably not going to have, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, but in a more liquid and maturing market, those, you know, long 4-year bear market cycles is probably going to get shortened, you know, and it's probably not going to be as volatile as it was, you know, in 2013 up until now.
Yeah, for sure. And are you a believer in the lengthening cycles theory or no?
I do believe that we are in an exponential market where it is getting adopted at a very rapid rate, like how the internet was, maybe even faster.
Do you want to know the statistic to exactly how fast it is?
Sure.
So when the internet was at about 150 million users, which is around where crypto is now, it was growing at 63% in 1998. So crypto at the moment at about 150 users is growing at 113% year over year right now.
So wow, yeah, so it's more, a little bit more than double.
About double, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do believe that the market is getting more mature, and I do believe that at least in, you know, Bitcoin, you're going to see less volatility. Yeah, is it still going to go up in price? Yeah, I strongly believe so. But the kind of returns that people think they're going to make in 2013 and stuff is that's not there anymore. And I think a lot of retail traders are they're smart and they realize that. And I think that's why most of the people who are buying Bitcoin and Ethereum are institutions, and I believe that that's why you see a lot of retail traders going into the lower cap altcoins.
Yeah, I mean, there's just more reward there, right?
Yeah, you know, they want that. They want to get into a project a little earlier with more room for growth.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's going to be very hard for Bitcoin to do another 100x from here.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I guess I'm a belief in the lengthening cycles just because like I really agree with the fundamentals in the sense that like in the first run we had in like 2013, like it was the shortest run yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's also when like everything was like literally just speculation. Like most people didn't have an idea of what this stuff even was. And then in 2017, the cycle lengthened a little, but there was still a lot of speculation and just like people believing that like it's just gonna be banned or whatever.
Right.
But there were some like long-term believers at that point, right? Like you, for example.
Yeah, what I think is going to happen to the market right now, I guess this kind of ties into that conversation. I think it's just a matter of time until institutions start filling up their bags,
For sure, yeah. And
for the market
I feel like they're actually doing it just like in silence right now too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just looking at the chart here on the weekly time frame, we're below the 50-week moving average, but we're still a little bit a ways from support. And if you're an institution, you're not going to be buying. I call that kind of no man's land, where you're kind of in between support and resistance. They're going to want to reintroduce this back into their portfolios. They're going to want to introduce it to their clients. So it's just a matter of time until we reach a bottom, and then once they start buying it up again. Also, tax return season is around the corner. Once those kind of hit people's accounts, I feel like we could see some new money injected back into the market. So yeah, those are the things that I'm looking for.
That's a really interesting outlook, actually. I've always seen tax season as a bearish signal, just because people might have to like pull some of their profits out to pay for the taxes.
Yeah, well, it depends. So some people, they purposely take a loss and buy it right back. You have people doing that, and then you have some people who are just waiting for their tax return check. You have some people who watched a certain project throughout the year, and they were saying, well, I want to get some more exposure into that coin. And some of them, they just wait until they get their check from their tax returns and use that as their way to get in, right?
That's a very good point. Yeah, I never even thought of that.
Yeah, and then there's a possibility of, I think I heard another round of stimulus checks going out. It's not much, but you kind of add that in with your tax return, and we could see some new money being injected into the market, but only time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. But it's just the fact. Do you keep up with kind of just like the macro view of things much, or more just technical?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you probably know about what the Fed's been saying lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just curious as to how that will likely affect the market come like March, when they really get hawkish and just like really clamp down on raising rates and just like slowing down their bond buybacks.
That's really tough to say, man.
Definitely, yeah, but
I don't know.
It seems like markets aren't taking it too well, but we'll have to see if they really keep their word on that too, right?
Yeah. So
because like with everything happening,
go ahead.
With everything happening with just like from COVID to just like everything else, it's like if they do stop printing money and just like hike rates, I don't think most like citizens can really like comfortably survive at that point.
No, and wages really aren't going up very much, and
absolutely not.
The price of fixed goods going up. Gas is insane. I think the gas station right down the street here is like $5.30.
$5?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm complaining about $1.60 here.
Dude, it's pretty gnarly here. And not all parts of California are like that, but
I guess you guys go by gallons though, right?
Yeah, per gallon.
Okay, yeah, we go by liters. I don't know the exact conversion, but
oh, okay. Oh man. But yeah, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. I really
Yeah, of
appreciate it.
course.
This was a lot of fun for me. This was my first interview.
Yeah, it's always awesome having guests on, man. And I'm just trying to like really grow just like the whole like crypto Twitter community and just like bring who else is just like open to coming on and sharing their side of the story, right?
Yeah, I look forward to seeing more of your videos.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yours as well. And I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk, eh?
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. All right, but anyways, guys, that's all we have for you guys today. This is Tokenicer signing out. Peace.
See you.